Hello, my name is Joe Dillette. You're seeing me using a power tool. Normally I work with chisels. I consider myself a traditional carver. Traditional meaning using the mallet, chisels, that sort of thing. And in art there is no rules. When you can use a power tool, if it's part of your journey and doing it, part of your enjoyment, there's nothing wrong with power tools. In this case here, I'm using a RotoZip. That's the name of the tool, and the tool that I'm using is a router bit, and this one here is a 45-degree angle, and I'm using it in place of a V-tool. Now I can do the same thing that I'm doing with this here. This particular job is just putting in lines, and I can put them in with the V-tool, but the router is another way of doing it, and I wanted to show that to you. So for the RotoZip, this has got will hold a 1/4-inch shank of any router bit, and I like the V-shape ones because they don't vibrate in the hole. If you've got a straight router bit, it tends to, when you get down to the bottom of the hole, it'll vibrate and chatter, but one with a V on won't. So I use this RotoZip with this V shape for a lot of my roughing out and that too. So in the places where it will save you some time. The router bits come in different angles. The angle is the included angle. This one here is a 60-degree, and so it will get wider faster on you. The 90-degree is this one here. The 90-degree really widens out quickly, and the one that I have in there now is a 45-degree. That is the most acute angle that you can get on it. They're carbide, so they have a carbide insert. They stay sharp very long. The ones that I get are from Eagle is the brand name, but other people that make router bits, you can get them from them also. But any 1/4-inch shank will fit in the RotoZip. The RotoZip comes with a base that you can regulate how deep you're going to go. I just run it by hand. What I'd like to do is show you some of the things I can do with the RotoZip. First, let me show you some lettering, but before we get into that, let's talk about some safety. When you're using power tools, this here is a respirator that I'm using, so it's more than just a dust mask. It fits around your face pretty nice. It's got a little, it's not latex, but it's a little seal that goes around like a rubber seal, but it's not latex. It has a wire on here, and it is rated as a respirator. So the you can order them from your drugstore and that, but it's a Kimberly-Clark, and it's rated as a respirator, an N95. It's used in the medical field. You can reuse them, but you only use them a couple times, then you throw them away. If you're doing a lot of dusty work, like on the planer or something, or a joiner, this your respirator will probably, you'll feel it start plugging up in about maybe 15-20 minutes. There's so much dust in the air. So normally for something like this here, I can use it several times, and because there isn't much dust coming off the end of this. So let me move the camera in. Oh, the other thing is the safety glasses. Safety glasses should be worn all the time when you're using power equipment, and that have the side shields. There is dust coming off of this. This here RotoZip has a cooling motor that's blowing air out of here, and that dust is blowing around. So the side shields are important for that also. So I'm going to move the camera in closer so you can see more of what I'm doing here. I will show you some lettering also, and so you get an idea of just how versatile this tool is. I use other power tools too, but we're going to talk about the RotoZip right now. Board that I'm working on here, Raegan, is my new great granddaughter, and this is a part of a bookshelf that I'm making for her. So you can see the veins, how easily it goes in, and this whole thing, all of these flowers and everything were carved with that RotoZip. Then I took the chisel and I just kind of went around the edges a little bit to get a little bit of irregularity to make it look like it was hand done. I want to show you some lettering here. Part of the difficulty with the video is the trying to keep the camera in position where normally where I sit, and it puts me kind of in an awkward position. So I'm trying to do this from the side, and hopefully I won't block it too much. This is a mahogany, and I want to show you how to do the lettering, and when you come to the little thin areas, to be able to lift that bit up so it is thin, and then when you get to the thicker areas, you'll lower it in a little bit more. So So this is fairly small lettering. You can see how small it is based on the size of my finger here. This is kind of roughed out. Now you can go in there and you can fine tune and just kind of straighten up some of the lines. Notice how I tip the RotoZip to the side. There's enough air blowing out the side of the RotoZip to blow off the chips, so I don't have to take off my dust mask to do that. So let me fine tune it a little bit. There, that's pretty quick. So it's just like taking the V tool and running it around, but it's works a whole lot nicer. It's easy to control. So that's how the board fits into the bookshelf. So you can kind of see the bookshelf. Don't ask for the plans. This is one for the Great Granddaughter, and I looked around at the spare pieces of wood I had here, some of these ends, so I just kind of sawed it out and didn't have any plans, just designed it as I went. So there is no plans for this one. What I'm doing is I'm also putting a texture on here. So the only smooth side is going to be the top of the shelf. Everything else I've got chisel marks. This, with power tools, I took the bandsaw, sawed this out. I took the table saw and I did the cuts in here and bandsaw in there, and now I'm just going to take the chisel, and what I'm doing is I'm putting texture over the whole, all the surfaces except for where the surface of the book is on. So you can see I'm kind of rounding it. This one here I'm in the process of doing where I've rounded the top and I'm rounding here, and so just kind of making the whole thing all textured. So what I've got here is a bracket that goes on the bookshelf, and to hold it in the vise so it's up, I have a board under it, and the vise is lined with a felt. You can line it also with leather that really grips the piece. If you don't have a liner in your vise, it will slide. Two hard surfaces against each other will slide. So this makes good contact. What I'm doing now is I'm rounding off the edges and taking all the tool marks out. What I want to do is leave the whole surface with chisel marks, and I want nice subtle chisel marks. So I am using a number 3 chisel, but I'm going to use the chisel upside down because I'm making a curve going this way, and I'm using the large mallet, and I'm holding it at about a 45-degree angle. The chisel is upside down, so I get a slight radius. So it helps me in the rounding action. So now I'm getting down to the bottom here, and I need to reverse the chisel where I was using the rounded portion this way. Because I'm coming out of the curve now, I need to reverse it so I have the fulcrum of the lever, the bevel, on this side, that I can bring it out of that curve. Now we just take it by hand just to smooth it a little bit more. When I get the preliminary shape that I want, then to put the texture on it, I will use another chisel, a little smaller one, and that will be a number 3, this number 3 fishtail that I really like. And it's just going to be a series of small cuts. So it looks like it's hand carved. And I do that all over the surface. Now I'm going to reverse the chisel again, coming down on this side. Now the curve is changing direction, so I need to change the chisel to put the bevel on the other side. Now I'm coming down. Here I can reverse it again, and I'm getting to the bottom, and I come back this way. And I will just come down on this side to meet it. I'm just working to get the shape, not trying to get real smooth, because that smaller chisel where I'm putting the tool marks on will do all the smoothing and everything that I need. So I've got the shelf glued up, and now you can see my lack of woodworking skills. I've had some gaps and where the joints weren't quite tight. So what I did is I go on the bandsaw, I cut pieces of wood. This is a wedge shape, and then I glue it and drive it in. Now I'm going to trim off, just taking a knife, and I'm just scoring so it'll break right at that joint. Then I will take my carving tools, I will blend that in and blend in the other joints, just kind of refine it a little bit more, and it'll be ready for a coat of finish. Here is Raegan's bookshelf. It's all finished, and the dedication is on the back. Thank you for watching.